Hey, it's Jackie and I'm back with another process video for you today. This one layout that I'm doing is for Canada's 150th birthday. I'm recording how we watched fireworks at night. I make a few mistakes in this process because I'm using glitter, which is a medium I don't use very often, but I thought it's important for you guys to see how I make mistakes and how I handle them when they happen, because I think we all make mistakes. So stay tuned and let's put together a layout. So I just started by protecting my pages. This again is a little just cheapy sketchbook that I do my journaling in. I put some wax paper behind the pages to keep them safe, and then I'm just making my night sky with some India ink. I could have used acrylic paint for this, but I had India ink handy, so that's what I used. It's PBO branded. And I'm just using my paintbrush to spread it around. It comes with a little dropper, so I find that really helpful. And I'm just trying to do a rustic look with brush strokes in it. I'm not trying to go evenly out to the edges or anything like that, because when things are handmade, I like them to look handmade. I like when they have a little bit of artsiness to them. So I'm just checking to make sure that it's not bleeding through to the other side, because I ended up applying it pretty thickly. I put the photo down where I want it, and I realized it's going to cover up too much of the black, so I add a little bit more to the bottom. The idea is that I'll do some art on the top half, and I'll do my journaling on the bottom half. Photos will go somewhere in the middle. So I decided I wanted to make some fireworks using this technique I keep seeing on YouTube, using a toilet paper tube that you cut into little strips like you can see here. And I haven't done it before, so I decided to do a test in this little blank notebook that I have. It's just a little Muji notebook. So I just smush out some acrylic paint with my finger and test it out. And after one test, I felt comfortable enough with it that I moved back into the journal. The paint dries really quickly, so I have to keep reapplying it. I just have like a little sheet of wax paper here that I'm using as a palette. I suppose I could use palette paper, might have worked better. But yeah, you just basically dab it on, and I found it wasn't making enough of a print, so I started pushing it down with my fingers as well. And I had been originally going to draw on the inside lines, because you can see it leaves like a hole. But in the end, I just decided I didn't need to be that precise, and I just started using the tube a little bit closer to the edge of the page. This technique doesn't just make fireworks, it also makes like dandelion puffs. I realize I'm going to make a mess of my page, so I put down some glitter tape to mask off the bottom. This tape's been sitting in my stash for 3 years, so I don't think I'm going to use it up anytime soon. I don't mind using it here. I was trying to pick colors that were true to the firework colors that we saw, and that would stand out on the black paint. So bright, bold colors are the best for that. I find like pale, bright colors. So I use like an apple green and I think it's like a turquoise blue is what it's called, something like that. And then it's Canada Day, so I definitely need to include some red, but I decided to take a step up and use red glitter. And it seemed to me the best way to stick it down would be with matte medium, but since matte medium isn't it's like a little sludgier than my acrylic paint, I just ended up brushing it onto my toilet paper tube instead of putting it on wax paper like I'd done with the paints. And when I try stamping it down, I find it comes out a little smudgier. The lines aren't as precisely defined, but in the end, it's just my journal, so I just go with it. It dries pretty quickly, so I put the glitter on it as I go, one firework at a time. And you can see I'm going to probably put down 3 of them, and that'll give them all kind of a chance to dry a little bit before I dust the glitter off. One kind of newbie mistake I made was, because I ended up putting on the black ink as thick as I did, the glitter kind of stuck to it a bit in places where I didn't intend it to, so I have to brush a lot of it off. So I'll show you how I do that here in a second. But yeah, I'm just putting down the rest of the glitter, and then I just knock it off of the page onto some wax paper so that I can get it back in the little container that it came in. And I find the best way to get glitter, like excess glitter off, is to flick it with your finger. Like, just give it a hard flick, and that takes off most of it. And so then I just start brushing off any excess that there is. And I have this is like a nail brush, like I bought it for nail art a long time ago. I ended up not liking the nail art, but now I have all these little fine detail brushes that I can use in my journals. And I just kind of like work it in and out of from the center outwards to kind of separate some more of the little globby parts of the glitter, as well as brushing off the excess from the black parts. And then I think it looks pretty good. And those are my fireworks. Now, I did lose a little bit of footage here. I put some extra details on it. Actually, I'll talk about that here in a second. So it looks like I did my title first. I didn't get sick of the glitter by this point, so I decided I'm going to write Canada 150 on the bottom. And this is something that didn't work, and it's always good to see things that don't work, just as it is to see things that do work. So I tried using an old paintbrush and some matte medium. Since the matte medium worked for the fireworks, I thought it might work here. But what ends up happening is that the matte medium, when you brush it on, it goes on too thin, and so it starts drying really quickly. So even though I only did 3 letters before I put on the glitter, and you'll see that I do that the whole way across, I keep going back to keep everything wet. I keep adding glitter, at regular intervals, but it's still not enough of it stuck to the page to give me the effect that I like, and you'll see that here in a few seconds. But I think the learning process is, we're in our journals to play, and so it's a great place to try out new techniques, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, you can always cover it up. It's no big deal. So here I just knock off the glitter again, and you can see where it's not sticking. And then after it dried, so I thought I should wait until it dries before I mess around with it, so I took that time to tape down my photos, and I just used my tape runner, which probably wasn't the best idea because tape doesn't stick to glitter very well, but so far my photos seem to be staying down. I think it worked. The first one is a picture of me and my friends. We all went to dinner that night on Canada Day, and the second one is a photo that I found online of the fireworks that they set off at the CN Tower, because I do not have the ability to take a good photo at night of something that is like 2 kilometers away. So somebody else was closer, and I used their photo online. So now that my glitter and matte medium's all dry, I start brushing it off, and even more of the glitter comes off, and you can see that it's the numbers, you can barely even read them. So I decided instead of matte medium, I'm going to use some glue. I've got this Tombow glue, and it has a fine tip on it, so I thought that would be a good thing to use, because it'll give me the kind of precision that I want to stick this stuff down. So at first I started going over the blank spots, like where the glitter had come up, but then as I get going, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to redo the letters altogether. So I tried to thicken out the glue, and it pretty much almost covers up the glitter that's already there. It's like a second layer. It's glitter all the way down. And this one works a lot better. This particular glue dries tacky, so even when I had missed a spot with the glitter, I could go back and add more, and it still stayed on. And so far it seems to be opening, like the book seems to be opening and closing pretty well without the pages sticking together. So I think this worked pretty well. So this is a way I'd recommend if you want to do glitter letters. I would say try using some white glue instead of using matte medium with the brush. And so here's where I lost the footage. I just forgot to turn on the camera. Sorry about that, guys. But what I did here is I used a leaf stencil. I had one that was a maple leaf, and I used some Heidi Swapp gold texture paste. You'll see it here. And I just did some leaves. And then I used a Faber-Castell Pip pen in white. And I used that to just put random dots everywhere to kind of give the appearance of stars. And that's how I finished off my background. So then I just used this gold paint pen that I have to put little emphasis on the title to kind of bring the gold down the page. And that's it for these pages. I just add a little bit of journaling to them, and with that I call them done. So yeah, you'll see some photos at the end, and I would love to hear in the comments about things that you've had to correct and how you fix things when things don't go right in your journal. So please feel free to give me a comment below, and I just want to thank everybody for watching.